All right, so let's get started. It's about 7 minutes after 9 on February 3rd. This is the Weston Board of Education and Communications Committee calling to order. The first order of business is approval of the minutes from our December 2022 meeting. So if you've had a chance to, probably just you and I chat for now. So if you've had a chance to review it, if there's nothing, no corrections or mistakes, if you'd like to make a motion to approve it.
I make such motion.
Okay, I second it. So we have taken care of the first order of business. Second order or third order of business, new website.
Yes.
We're running a bit behind.
So the website, the migration has been completed. So now we are in the process of cleaning up the website, removing old dead links, getting the Instagram feed on all the pages. So just minor things, when they've completed the migration project, the company Gabbert, they sent us like a spreadsheet of here are pages that had either dead links or links that went to extremely old files from, like 2012, 2011. We don't know if you want to keep that. So we're all in the process of going through all that. So I did just want to show you a sneak peek of what it looks like. So hang on one second. And to ask for your feedback on something. Hang on, there we go. Okay. So this is our new website. So you see we have the Instagram feed is right here. We have, I fixed up and cleaned up the horizontal navigation bar because technically our old web page had like two home pages. It had www.westonps.org, but then a whole separate homepage when you clicked on district. So that's combined right now. So we have homepage, our schools, district information, the departments, Board of Education, curriculum and instruction, Department of Pupil Services and Special Education. And up here we have our prospective residents, PowerSchool login, COVID info, join our team. And so these are the hot buttons for the most used sections of our website. Our latest news, our excellence with compassion. Then this is called the twin feature with academics and athletics. This is our Weston calendar, which pulls from the district's Google Calendar. Links to our Facebook page and our Twitter account, the proper Facebook page, David, I know you had brought up. So that I found up. So David had found we had a bad link to a very, very old Weston PS Facebook page that actually was ours, but nobody knew how to access it when I first started getting us back into Facebook. So that's why it was linked to a very old Weston Public Schools webpage that was ours. This feature, which I like right here, is it does have right embedded in our YouTube page with all of our latest videos and with thumbnails on the right side. So you can quickly launch any other video, in chronological order. And now this is the piece that I wanted your feedback on. Think about it. So we can put 4 bullet items. It can say whatever we want and have whatever number we want. I put some of these in here as placeholders, but what are 4 accolades? Numerical, and I'm specifying numerical accolades because we can't say A+ rating. The top has to be a number, the bottom could be the text. What would be some things that the Board of Ed would like to see in these 4 selling points for Weston Public Schools? So I'm not looking for an answer right now, but if you want to talk it out or think it through, we want to get that squared away before we officially go live with the website.
I would say the 3 of the 4 spot on. The student enrollment probably shouldn't be there.
Right.
So ultimately, I would say so we should come up with something that's highlightable, that's numeric based, like just like the other three. If we can't, I'd say get rid of the student enrollment for now because it doesn't kind of flow with the rest of it.
Right. Right. That's what I was thinking. So one of them was, they I had put in here our performance index grade, which was one of the highest in the state, but there's no frame of reference. Like the public won't know what an 88% state performance index rating necessarily means.
But are these clickable links?
No, they're not clickable links. And I don't know if it can be, but that's a good point.
Right, because if it was a clickable link and someone didn't know what it is, that number by itself might spark someone's. The number by itself looks good.
Yeah.
If someone says, well, what is it? Is it,
click on it. Yeah, that's a good point. I can reach out to Gabbert and see if they can make the text linkable if possible.
Yeah, especially if it's not linkable, then student enrollment has to go away.
Yeah,
because there's not a value there.
Right.
I have an idea. So in the curriculum committee, and I mentioned this, I think, I don't know, whatever, at some point in the budget process, we had this really fun curriculum committee meeting where Megan Ward walked us through the program of studies document. And I, for one, was blown away by it. I might have had the most positive reaction of anybody, but of the call, I think everyone was pretty positive about it. And the thing I compared it to the most was like walking through an undergraduate bookstore at like a really top college, and you see all these different classes and the description of the class. So what about a number that shows like total number of like, you could have number of electives or number of like specialty classes or something like that, that would then, if it's clickable, take people right to the program of studies document. Now, the reason I'm wondering about that is because that would serve two purposes. Out of the curriculum committee, we were all wondering, can we feature this document more? Because honestly, as a parent who just moved to Weston 3 years ago, if I look at this website, I'd be like, okay, that's cool. Looks pretty good. But if I could do sort of instantly, I would get like linked into the program of studies document and see that like my high schooler can take, whatever class. I think that might be a really good sort of advertising tool for our school, and it might bring focus to that document. So it's a brainstorm. We don't have to do it.
Yeah, no, that's a good point. So first it would start off with, let's see if we can make these linkable, right? And if not, I do like showing how many options the district gives students in terms of course selection.
Yeah. I think David's idea about the 88% is probably, if we're going to go with just 4, probably the 88% is better because it's easily visual. I mean, quickly we say like 88% good, generally good thing. Whereas if we have the number of courses, it's hard to actually map. Like, what does that mean exactly? So maybe if that's simpler, we do that. And then maybe we look for a different place to bring focus to the program of study. But I don't know. I mean, we could investigate both, perhaps. Like, whatever you think.
Yeah. So for the program of study, I was thinking about placing that definitely in multiple locations, right? So number one, regardless, like it's going to go under curriculum and instruction, which isn't prominent, but I do want to put it in multiple locations. So we'd put under curriculum instruction. It's going to be listed under the high school. I also want to put it under this prospective residence link. So we've been cleaning this up, removing a bunch of old stuff, but we'd put the program of studies as like a button over here. And going back to the website, I'm thinking about a place that we can put the program of studies prominently on the main page of our website.
Yeah.
And I haven't quite come up with the best idea because I want it to be prominent. I don't want it to make the website overly busy. So I'm wondering if I can have the company create a new icon for us. But what I want to do is create 2 icons under these quick links because there's 6 right now. So if we added a 7th, that would offset this side.
Yeah.
So we could do one over here that would say, program of studies, and then one over here that could be one of the other bullet items that we have on the main page, like how we have the mindfulness web page that we have featured over here, or a link to Lisa's podcast, something like that. I could see if they could add, like I said, an additional icon for us.
Dan, two questions.
Yeah.
Three, really. Do we really still have to be prominently displaying COVID-19 information?
You know what? That's great that you brought that. Lisa said that also yesterday. Do we need to? So you're talking about this up here, this COVID-19 info. Nothing legally tells us that we have to post here anymore. So Lisa brought up that point. I'm going to see if I can have it moved under district information.
Yeah.
So that's something that I don't have the ability to do. So I'm going to contact Gabbert and see if they can move that for us. But yes.
Or get rid of it entirely. I just feel like we've made so much progress at putting it in the rearview mirror as far as it being, a hurdle or a roadblock. So so that's my first question is eliminate COVID-19 info, or at least move it underneath and get rid of it from such prominent real estate.
Yep.
My second question is I'm not sure I like the 6 blocks of culinary district. So why do we need, or two questions. What is communication protocols?
That's how, if something happens, who you're supposed to contact, which is actually kind of important for, like, if you're upset about something with your kid, rather than calling the school principal or the superintendent, here's who you should contact first to try to get it resolved.
Right. And Lisa made that very clear. She wants this prominently on our website because that's been one of the biggest questions.
Who do I call for what?
Yeah. Who do I call for what? Exactly.
So, so being that I'm asking the question, and it's not obvious to me that if I had to reach out to somebody in the district, this is our communications, I wouldn't call it hierarchy, but I think the wording choice.
Who to call for what?
What?
Who to call for what?
Yeah, David, let me jump in there because I completely agree with you. And this is a little bit of like a philosophical lens to look at this with. But when you're broadcasting to the world, the biggest question is like, how am I talking to my audience? So a part of me thinks we want to make this even more user-friendly from a language perspective. So you almost like just simply give us the tags of the questions, like, which is like culinary services would be like, now
what's for lunch?
Yes, exactly. It's too colloquial, but like, what's my kid eating today? Or like, how do I change my kid's menu? ? And communication protocols is like, how to contact us. And maybe even there's a label here like parents quick links, or like quick links for parents. And maybe there's even an arrow. And like, as an example of what I'm talking about, if you pull up, and I can either share my screen if you want to, or you can do it later on. But if you look at like St. Anne's School in Brooklyn, Horace Mann, Avenues, there's a way in which the website is sort of like, hey, quick, let us help you out. It's like super immersive and kind of instant. I'm not trying to throw a wrench in the works at all, but to highlight your point, David, like communication protocols to me sounds very much like what you would find on a .gov website of some kind, where you're having to then like sift through a bunch of information. I don't think it necessarily explains what it is. And even to your point, Dan, of like putting the program of study under the curriculum nesting, people don't really look at hamburgers that much, drop-down menus. They get confused quickly because there's so much there. So the things that we really want to draw people's attention to quickly, I feel like we can make it even more talking straight to our audience.
I think to Chad's point, I think the idea, I think Sharon, you may have said it, what's for lunch?
Yeah.
I mean, that's great for culinary.
Yeah.
And maybe for a communications protocol, it should be, district contacts. And when you, and
Go
right
ahead.
when you, and then, so really the basis of my question was actually, communications protocol to me seemed, I don't know what it was for. Why waste a block? Seems like we need it there. Clearly Lisa wants it there. So we should rename it. But then how about, what I'm getting at is maybe we should get budget off of this main block. I don't think going to more blocks makes sense, but I think the curriculum or the courses of study could be in place of budget, because I would think budget to me, someone is going to our website looking for the budget.
Right.
Right. It's sort of like that restaurant that's in the middle of nowhere. That's a destination restaurant versus a McDonald's, which is a convenience. Hey, I'm going to be driving by, so let me go there. Right. So I think budget should be moved under Board of Ed,
Mhm.
and that real estate should get repurposed for the curriculum programs.
David,
I
what
missed
do you use
I missed the beginning part of this conversation about the curriculums program. What is it? What's
program?
Well, first, Sharon, we assigned you a couple of new roles while you were here.
this is what I get
Dan
for
will-
trying to help Lisa. Okay.
Dan will email you later about those.
Yeah.
We don't take no for an answer, by the way.
This is not necessarily like a done deal. This is something that came up in the curriculum committee that everybody, faculty, administration, board of ed members, everyone was like so excited about our revamped program of studies document that walks through all the classes at WPS that kids can take. It's a pretty phenomenal document in my humble opinion. And anyway, we pointed out like this is a really cool way to get a snapshot of what the school is up to and can we feature this more prominently. So we don't have to do this. We're talking about like, should we find a way to feature this more prominently? Dan's a fan of it. So he's trying to find multiple places to link on the website to it. So the question is, do we want to make it one of these 6 tabs potentially? And I think your idea is great, David and Sharon, which is like, maybe we go for some consistency and each of these are just little simple question prompts with like parentheses underneath, like what's for lunch, culinary services. Like when is
Well, that's too many words. I think the what's for lunch or something in between, right? What's for lunch is kind of kitschy and cute. Culinary services is kind of dry, probably like lunch, but kind of dry. So figure out something in between.
Right.
Well, the idea of using a question might be great because it just instantly tells you like, if I have that question, I can click here. So like,
What if I made it something like for instance, I know we talk about culinary services, that tends to be these one like lunch menus.
Yeah.
Well, but in that link, it's more than just lunch menus. It's also how to, sign up for,
Right.
the whatever it is.
Right. Right.
So,
How about just, I mean, not to oversimplify it, but just food services, if anything. I mean, culinary,
culinary services.
yeah, it'd be a stretch to call what we offer culinary.
We used to have sushi. It was quite a thing.
I heard we used to have sandwiches and ovens in the middle, sandwiches someplace, and I heard that we used to have ovens in the elementary school. We don't have those either.
Nope, don't have those either. Yeah.
Y'all,
maybe-
I think Sharon's idea is great. I think what's for lunch is, I think a question is super simple and like, does it risk being too colloquial? Yeah, but it's so instantly clear what I'm trying to do. And like communication protocols, like how to reach us or like need to
How to
reach
reach
out.
us.
Like, yeah, like that there's simple little tags and maybe we label it like quick links for parents or quick links for the community. And each of those has something like, I mean, I think superintendent's updates is totally clear on its own.
Yeah.
I think it would make it more user friendly. And then the program of studies document, if we want to feature it here, which is an if, but if we do, that could be like, want to see what the kids are studying or, want to see what our classes are or, something like that.
I think the what's for lunch is cute, but ultimately communication protocols is super vague.
Yes.
Yeah.
So that I think should be changed to potentially district contacts. And then
District contacts is that's sufficient. It's pretty dry. What was it you said before, Chad? How to reach us or how to contact us?
Could we discipline ourselves to try to have monosyllabic words for each of these? What's for lunch? How to reach us? You know what I mean? Like we don't have
but then how do you? I partially agree.
Yeah.
But how do you have to have as few words as possible, right? So that I think from a visual layout perspective, two lines, right, of words.
Yeah.
So how do you do that with just 2 lines of words? And how do all of them? They all should be questions, or they should all be statements.
Yeah, I agree. I buy that completely. How to reach us would actually be easier to put on there, the communication protocol. How to reach us is actually less letters, so you could still fit that in there.
So
Or maybe equivalent.
just so you know, so the way this works, so if I go back, when you click on the communications protocol,
Mm-hmm.
it gives you to the links for each school's communication protocol. And then when you click on each one, it lists this. So like, see how it says, to whom do I direct my question or concern? I know it's not monosyllabic, but I'm just saying like, it could be an offshoot instead of saying district contacts, because it's not necessarily district contacts. It's links to the school. You know what I'm saying? Like,
The communications protocol, rather than having communications protocol, because it almost sounds like you're being reprimanded. It sounds, to me, it sounds like communications protocol. You're being reprimanded if you step outside of this. It could very simply be, who do I contact for what? It sounds silly to say that, but just from a parent who's in there going, I'm frustrated and I want to find out who I'm supposed to talk to about this in particular.
Yeah, I mean, I agree, Sharon. I mean, ultimately, you want to be able to have someone go to the website instantaneously, right? If they're, as I'm sure we all know, this is as close to my degree as I'm ever going to get in my professional field. My degree is in communication and criminal justice. So if any of you want to step forward as a criminal, I'm really, on the communication side, there's going to be two groups of people who come to our website. Those that are there just to browse, and those that have a purpose. And I think that those 6 buttons are purpose-based buttons. So it needs to be obvious to the person. So I think 2 words, 3 at most if it fits, but two lines of words.
Yeah.
And the fact that they used communication in the past, that's just because they didn't have a great communications committee like us to tell them it's a poor choice of words. It's not.
So what should we land on for communications protocol? I can make that change right now.
This is terrible timing, but I have to drop off. I trust you all to carry on without me and so forth. Sharon, David will update you on why I have to drop off. So I'll see you all
Okay.
soon.
See you later, Chad. Thank you.
Bye, Chad. I don't know. I mean, Sharon, what do you think? I'm inclined district contacts.
But see, that's the thing. I don't want that to cause confusion because it's not district contacts.
No, and at the bottom, when you scroll down to the bottom, it says contact us. So it's
right.
different.
I don't want to cause confusion with that. That's why, like, if you look, see, when you click on that, it goes to this, right? It's each school has a communication protocol.
Right.
And each protocol has a tree on, okay, so for attendance, step 1, step 2, like, here's what I do, here are the numbers, here's who I call. So it goes, like if I go, hold on a second, if I go to, let's try this one here. Right, so like this one basically explains, for attendance, call the attendance line. If not resolved, call the registrar. If not resolved, call the assistant principal. If not resolved, you know what I'm saying? So specific steps for each issue that a parent may have. And see, that's why Lisa, and I do feel she's right, this is very important because a lot of times we have families calling us saying, well, who do I call for this? Who do I call for that? So now the biggest question is, what do I name this, right? Do I name this, who do I call for?
What? Yeah, that's not a bad thing. Who do I call for? ... But that document that you just showed us, Dan, was that just a generic document for all the schools?
Each school specific. Each school is different.
So this is a strange thing to say, but like it says in here, attendance. Here's the attendance telephone number. If not resolved, step 2, the registrar. It's Sol. What is that?
Solely. Yeah,
Solely.
Yeah,
okay.
Sorry, it's hard to see on the screen.
Solely. Can we put Soli's telephone number in there? Or do we have to make them go on a hunt to find Soli's telephone number?
Yeah, I was talking to Lisa, and Lisa's already spoken to the principals, and they know to update this before we go officially live.
Okay, because we want to make it as easy as 100%. Possible.
100%.
Yeah, so if we can have that telephone number on there and throughout the rest of the documents, I think that's probably the best way to do it, so that we're not making them go, oh my God, now what's the guy's name again? I have to go into the staff directory and stuff like that. So okay, so I understand what you're saying. And what was it you put down there again? Who do I contact for?
Yeah, like who do I call for ...
Yeah, I think that's, what? I know that this sounds kitschy, and we're not putting out, I think that we need to make it as user-friendly as possible.
Yeah,
and if it might be a little kitschy, it's fine. So long as people understand what it is. Communication protocols, I know what it is because we've used it in committee and we've used it amongst us, but it's just like when I first joined the board and everybody started throwing all these acronyms around and I was like, whoa, slow down. It's going to take people a while to be like, oh, so that's what's under communication protocols. So who do I call for ... I think that's great.
Right.
What do you think, Dave?
Yeah, I mean, I think ultimately we have to settle on either all 6 boxes being questions or statements. I think the mix, I
Well, there are certain things, like for example, district calendar. If we start getting too cute and kitschy with district calendar, we're gonna then we're
Yeah.
over our skis. District calendar is a district calendar. Everybody in their right mind knows what a district calendar is. Transportation, we get it. I mean, we could change that into what bus is Johnny on? No. I mean, like, I think transportation, district calendar, superintendent's updates, fine. Budget, if we're going to keep that, fine. But the other two, I think, are culinary services. Okay, I get that. Like, that's not that much of a reach, but it would be nice if it was like what's for lunch or,
maybe, maybe I know this sounds whatever, really specific. Maybe what's for lunch is just what's for lunch, no question mark. Don't actually put the question
sure.
mark.
Sure, we don't
Yeah.
have to have question marks.
This is what's for lunch, right?
Yeah, what's for lunch, and
Yep.
yeah.
And then communication. Now, my question then is what's for lunch too? Gosh, I feel like we're really in the weeds on this, and I'm sorry about this. Is what's for lunch? Is it too specific? Because if people are like, I don't care what the menu is, I need to be in touch with the person who's responsible because my kid's card isn't automatically reloading. And
so that's a great point. But here's what I'm thinking. So the point of these bullets is the most accessed sections of our website.
right.
So the most accessed section is the lunch menus themselves,
Okay.
not culinary services. So although this says culinary services, I could relink it to go directly to the menu under culinary service, which is this button. So this is old, obviously, because this is the last time they migrated it. So this is from the first week of January, but I would actually link it right to here, which would then list the menus.
Can we also have a link on there to, let's see, what's by local? Can we also have a link on there that says food services, contact food services? And is it a separate contact food services for each school, or is it a,
Right. So yeah. So and that's at the beginning over here is culinary services says right here paying for lunch bonus policy, non-discrimination statement and the lunch menu. So I could always have it fixed and linked to, like, if you look at this NutriSlice site, which they always do this, and I don't like how they do that. All right, so that's why it's not linked. There's a direct link to NutriSlice has been having issues with their page for some reason, but the weekly menus, and it's a static link that's always shows the menu for all 4 schools. For culinary services, for like questions like that, Sharon, I think it depends on your question. Right. If it's a top level question, it's going to go to Andre. But if it's a payment question, that's going to go to somebody else. And then some questions get directed at the building level. Right. So that's a good point. I could put under the lunch menus like a link back to the homepage of food services.
How about if we do this? Sounds crazy. We have a document for each of the buildings of who to contact for what. How about if we have a document that says it's for culinary services, who to contact for your kids' cards not loading, who to contact at each of the schools.
Yeah.
So we would have a menu, and then we would have, so basically it would fall under 2 places. It would fall under how to contact whatever, how do I get in touch with her, whatever we decided on that one. And it would also be a link underneath the what's for lunch. So what's for lunch, like you said, menus first, most important thing. So let's take it there, but have a link there that says, how do I contact food services? And then that goes to that. If your kid is here, you do this. We can have a document created like that.
Yeah, 100%. And it does. And just so you know, it is actually school lunch is listed under the tree. Now, not to say that we would want that changed, but I do agree with what you're saying is that we could do some kind of a tree for food services as well. Absolutely.
Yeah, I mean, just to simplify it.
Yeah.
To simplify it. It means a little bit of extra work on the back end for somebody to create the document, but I think just for user ease, it might be good.
Yeah.
Okay.
100%.
What do you think, Dave?
Yeah, and I was just gonna say maybe just call it lunch. Not even do the kitschy what's for lunch. Just call it lunch.
Or lunch. Yeah. That works too.
Yeah, no one's eating dinner there.
Right, then we kind of get away. I mean, it's cute, but right as you start kind of evolving it, you're like, just screw it. Call it lunch. So this kind of goes, okay, so I think we decided culinary services, we should just call it lunch.
Right.
Communications protocol, I don't know where we landed, but we know
It's
we're
Who
got-
to contact for.
Who do we call for?
okay.
Yep.
And we probably need to get Lisa's approval, but I think we should move budget just under Board of Ed and use that real estate for the curriculum that Tina and Lisa and Chad mentioned.
So I understand highlighting the curriculum. I wonder what is more utilized, the curriculum or the budget?
Well, the budget, the program of studies, I don't have analytics on, right, because of how it's currently posted on the page. I know the budget document, the budget portion of our website, it does get accessed a lot. So, that's why I had brought up, we have 6 bullets. What if I increased it to 8 bullets?
I think keeping it clean with 6 is good, but taking a look and finding what are the 6 most sought after parts of our current website. And if the budget is one of them.
Yeah, but I would say I agree what's the most sought after, but also what are people browsing for and what are people looking for?
Right.
And I think no one's gonna, in my opinion, no one's going to stumble upon Weston Public Schools website and be like, oh, budget, I'd love to read about their budget. But somebody who wants to look at our budget will go to our website and find it. So I think from a highlighting of the district, the curriculum is something that somebody who is going to be browsing.
Okay.
I'm thinking about moving to Weston or Westport. I'm going to go to Weston Public Schools website. I don't really care about the budget. I don't think budget really factors in greatly for someone who's interested in learning about Weston Public Schools. But the curriculum, or at least I'm going to rephrase that, curriculum is probably going to be a higher priority for them to learn about than how we spend our money.
Okay, that's fine.
Yeah. So what I'll do from here is I'm going to catch up with Lisa about this. I'm going to just bring, get her idea on it. And then, if we're all squared away, I'll have Gabbert create a new icon for the program of studies. I'll move budget to be underneath Board of Education, and then take it from there.
What exactly is living under the curriculum and instruction, and how would that differ from what would be under the button?
So curriculum and instruction right now. So we've been adding to this and cleaning it up. So Dr. Henkel and I have been talking, and she feels that we needed a lot more under curriculum and instruction than what currently resides. So we're going to be actually adding to this, and it also does include departments that span the K-12 space, like visual and performing arts. So this is what's listed under curriculum and instruction right now. We would also put the program of studies here as well.
Okay.
And I was mentioning to Chad that I would also like to put it under prospective residents as well.
Absolutely.
This is our marketing page of things that we want in here. Like Lisa asked me yesterday to add the budget information to this page, so I put this button here. We could add a new one in here for program of studies as well. And then we're going to be adding to this page as we get more information. Like there's a state report that's out that I want to link over here. This links to the district updates, which is, Lisa's monthly superintendent updates that she puts on there.
You know what? I've got a little bit of a question on why Lisa wants to have the budget on a prospective resident website as opposed to the curriculum. I would want to highlight curriculum long before I'm like, look at the numbers that we have here. If you're a prospective resident, you're not necessarily looking at the budget per se. You're looking at performance and and offerings of the school system. The budget is part of your mill rate, and they can see what their taxes are based upon their sheets when they get the house.
I think she was just thinking about it from what are some things that prospective residents would look for. We can have both reside on this page, the budget information as well as that.
Yeah, I think the curriculum offerings is far more important than budget information. For me, if I'm here looking at going to, I'm like, all right, so student registration, I'm not ready for that yet. Non-resident tuition, oh, so people actually try to apply here. Budget, why? It's almost like it falls flat to me. I would be like, oh, curriculum, like school offerings or curriculum offerings or something. I'd be like, oh, let's take a look at that and see the depth and the breadth. Again, this is Lisa's call ultimately if she wants it on there, but I mean, I'm happy to reach out to her and tell her that for me, it falls a little flat. I don't know. Communications was my major too, but it's been a long time since I've been in the communications world, and I have no real GUI interface or GUI experience aside from my years ago at Yahoo. So anyway, that's my 2 cents.
So back to the website. We're working on the schools. So the schools' homepages are slightly different. They don't have as much information as the main page, and we've added other things. So for instance, I'm going to go to Hurlbut. So under Hurlbut, I have a call into them. See how this border doesn't look nice? I hate that it doesn't go, but again, I don't have the ability. That's a back end thing. So there's the news items, their upcoming events, the principals and assistant principals messages, and the contact information. So what's not there is the link to the district's YouTube page, the major buttons, and the social media. Up top is ultimately, it's hidden right now, but there will be Hurlbut's Instagram page will be on the feed, just like how the district's webpage has the Instagram feed. So what had happened was it was still that slideshow that showed the front of Weston High School with the no parking sign. Last night, Gabbard Communications implemented the Instagram feed. It's just hidden because I haven't had a chance to set it up for Hurlbut with the middle school, the high school, and the athletics department. But ultimately, the school's landing page will be different than the homepage of Weston Public Schools, because things like these buttons, they're not necessarily applicable to the school's one outside of culinary services, and we'll have a link for the school's lunch menus on the home pages of each
and communication protocol, whatever we're going to call it. I think because if you're going to Hurlbut, it's because you're trying to.
Yes.
So I think that those two in particular, everything else they're going to be able to see from the front here, but I really think they're trying to drill down and figure out who to talk to.
Yeah.
So having that in.
Yep.
And then have it just be a direct link to their page. So.
Yep, absolutely. I agree. So really what's left is we're going to continue working on this. The staff at the buildings are going to continue cleaning it up. We're going to work through the break, and then once I know that they're okay, I'm going to send a note, a swift reach out to all parents. I'm going to post something on our social media so it also gets to residents that basically says, hey, just so you know, in a week from now, I'm going to give them 7 days notice that basically states we will be going live with our new website. Here's a sneak preview of what it looks like. And the most important thing is a lot of parents bookmark specific pages on the website. Those bookmarks are no longer going to work because all the links are changing on the website. So I'm going to put something in there basically saying in 7 days from now, if you have a site, let's say the Hurlbut bookmarked, that's no longer going to work. You have to recreate those bookmarks. And another reason why I wanted to give it some time is specifically because Lisa's been sending out a lot of information on our budget, and we've been putting a lot of work to this section of the budget, right? All these supplemental documents. And she included a link to this page that we want to be alive for a few weeks before we change it, because that link that she put out in the updates, that's now going to change once we go to this new page. And as she was sending that information out, I was like, oh my God, I completely, I didn't even make the connection of, if I went live, let's say next week, she had just sent information out we're also, February 7th, we have the meeting with the Board of Selectmen. They have the links to the page, to this page on the old website. I want to give it time
Yeah,
before we go live with new links on a new page, if that makes sense.
it totally makes sense. Also, in the communication, and I think because of that, like we have to keep it this way. But in the
Right.
communication to the parents, where you're telling them to, make sure they set their new bookmarks. I think what's going to happen is you're going to get two different types of parents. You're going to get parents who are like, "This is great." You're going to get parents that's like, don't like change, and they're going to complain about it, right? So we need to put a little verbiage in there saying, we're really proud of the new site. We've done a lot of work utilizing a lot of user research to make sure that we are offering the easiest to use site possible. However, we are open to feedback. Allow them the feedback loop. And if you have any suggestions, we would love to hear them.
Yeah.
And make sure you put that in there, because realistically, I mean, look, you have, the four of us basically who are putting this together. And Dan, you're doing an amazing job. And I think that we're all sometimes we overthink things, and sometimes things elude us. So, it wouldn't hurt to make sure that they understand that there's a communication loop, and and they can send it to us. They can send it to you, whatever is easiest for you, Dan.
Yeah, sure.
And we can be like, hell no, that's not going to happen, because, you're the only person in the district who's trying to do this. We can tell based upon traffic patterns, but, and other people will be like, oh my gosh, how did we forget that? So I think that we need to put that in the communication.
Yeah, that's a great point. I just noted it down, so I think you're 100% right. And we have like a webmaster at westonps.org account, so I can have them email webmaster, and then it goes to me automatically.
Okay.
So, I think that's a good idea.
Yeah, I would just say, I agree with Sharon for the most part. I would just say, maybe when you announce it, just say that, that the website was designed or whatever by a combination of, the district communications committee, but we're open to feedback. So that way, I don't want an email to go out that basically says, before you complain, understand where we're coming from, because you're kind of telling them to don't complain. I would say we should tell them that this wasn't just slapped together.
Right.
But if you have some feedback, certainly we'd love to hear from you.
Yeah, our goal is to communicate effectively.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Okay.
Cool. And so, Dan, I'm sorry. Now that with the Board of Finance and the Board of Selectmen and everything, and keeping the page, what is our target date now? Have we got a target date for launch?
I'm looking at the target date for like the end of February. If I'm looking, let me pull up the calendar. Hang on a second.
Lisa was just talking about it in the PTO meeting that I was at, the budget meeting.
Oh yeah.
So, yep, she's giving you all kinds of shout outs there.
Oh, that's good. That's nice of her. I'm going to see if I can do it around either the 24th, the Friday the 24th, or Monday the 27th. Most likely Monday the 27th. That way it'll give everyone up and through the February break. For at all the building levels, to make sure all of their links are active, everything's been updated. Then give me that week off where I'm just, again, like I'm going page by page to kind of double check, triple check, quadruple check things that aren't working or things that need to be cleaned. And then I'll send out a communication at the end of February break to parents saying in a week from now is when we're going live. So I'm thinking February 27th for a go live date.
All right. Sounds good.
Any other questions on the website?
I'm good.
Well, thank you. I appreciate all this feedback. It's one of those things, and I'm sure we've all been part of it, where you're staring at something for so long and you're working on something for so long that you tend to lose, I don't want to say focus, but you tend to have blinders on with what you're doing. So I appreciate getting all this feedback from everybody on things and putting things in perspective, like, communication protocol. Well, what does that mean? Well, to me, I know what that means, right? Yeah. But I live it, right? But a resident, a parent may not understand what that means, right? So we want to remove as much ambiguity. So even if it's down the road, if you see something or if you have feedback from residents, please let me know. And we always want to make the website much more clear and easy to understand. There she is.
Well, that was fun.
All right.
Gotta love, rural areas.
So I'm not sure. The last thing I heard was around February 27th, 28th go live.
Yes.
And then I dropped out. Is that?
Yeah, that's
You're-
basically.
Yeah, you're saying that, and you're also saying thanks for basically fresh eyes.
Yes,
Which-
I appreciate that.
Okay.
Which we are very happy to be fresh eyes. And that's one of the reasons why I think as we launch this to put that out of the community, fresh eyes, we'll get a lot of people who are, we'll get a lot of feedback from a few people, and, hopefully we'll be able to incorporate it into, some good user feedback. So, all right, cool.
Absolutely.
All right. So one other quick thing of business is, I was at, I'm part of social media. I consume it. It's tough at times to read what's being said, but I always believe there's potentially something in there that could be valuable. So there was requested, the complaint is still that we don't announce our meetings far and wide enough. It's not a wide enough net that we cast.
Okay.
And so I just wanted to confirm our official communication of upcoming Board of Ed meetings is through Facebook. Is that right?
Well, through the district calendar,
Yep.
and then I post things on Facebook.
Right. Okay. So from a push perspective, so
Yeah.
obviously people can go to the website, look at the calendar, see when the next meeting is. From a push, the district pushes notifications out through Facebook.
Correct.
So the two pieces of feedback I got were, well, what if you're not on Facebook, which is valid?
Hold on. Did you get that on social media?
I did. True. Which of course
throwing that
right. Which of course, and I simply also suggested to people to attend our meeting today. And based on the number of attendees,
Do we have any attendees?
No.
the four of us.
I have an idea that I saw, I think, on social media too.
Yeah. So I just want
Oh no.
we ask. Uh-oh.
I thought you froze again. Sorry. Go.
Oh, you froze too for a moment. So someone suggested that Sam Nestor include the
Yes.
meetings in her town hall happening.
Yeah.
Right? So I'm going to email her as a member of the communication committee, asking her if she would include it. But just to go, is there any other method that we can offer to push notifications to people?
There's no real way. We don't have access. Like, we couldn't send an email blast out because we, as a board, do not have access to every resident's contact information.
That's where Sam comes in.
Right. So Sam has the ability for that. So we don't own, or we don't currently have any method outside of social media and our district calendar to post and to notify residents of meetings.
So I have to be honest with you. I think I read the same stuff that you did, David, online. And I appreciate that people want to be made aware of it. And I think that the suggestion that Sam includes it in her weekly link and email to the town, I think that that's fantastic. And I'm sure Sam is all about trying to be transparent as well. So I am sure there's going to be no problem with that. And if you want, I'm happy to talk to her. She's my neighbor down the street. I can easily reach out to her, but I'll let you do it as the chair. However, beyond that, I got to be honest with you. There's only so much we can do. And if people are interested in coming to a Board of Ed meeting, if they're truly interested in coming to a Board of Ed meeting, our schedule is on that site. And all they have to do is click on Board of Ed and they will see the schedule. We are not hiding anything. And it's our responsibility to do the best that we can to let the town know when meetings are taking place. But I think that there's a lot of people who are trying to find fault with us when the fault doesn't lie with us for why they weren't informed of these meetings, right? This is budget season. There's been a lot of talk on social media about budgets. If people are so interested in coming to the budgets, we've done what we can as far as Facebook is concerned. The PTOs are putting the things out there. And if you're really that interested in the budget, you're going to be like, hey, when are those meetings? I want to take a look and find out when they are. And you're going to go to the district calendar. So I think that the SAM idea is a fabulous one. Absolutely. Let's let's explore that with her. But aside from that, enough. There's got to be some personal responsibility for people who are like not going to. I didn't know about that. Well, then obviously you're not that interested in it.
Right.
So
I agree with you. I think I've said in the past that short of us driving to someone's home, logging them into their computer and our website,
yeah,
there is only so much that we can do. And my goal was to say, we have adopted the following procedures, and this is what we're going to stick to. And yeah, we're not going to get everybody, but here are the official ways that we can do it. And I know I asked in the past about email blasts, and we, like Dan said, we can email blast only so many people, and that would be parents and guardians. That's not the community. So that's not a system that we can use. So, all right. So just to kind of close the loop on it, as we said in the past, people can pull the information from the Weston website. They can subscribe to the calendar, in which case our calendar becomes integrated into their iPad, their iPhone, or whatever. They can follow us on Facebook, where they will get an alert in Facebook that there's an upcoming meeting. And I'm going to email Sam today. I'm going to ask her if she could include in, what is it called? Town Hall Happenings?
Town Happenings.
Town Happenings? Okay.
Yeah.
And that comes out how often?
Every Friday.
Every Friday. Okay.
Every Friday, I get a text on my phone and I get an email, Town Happenings.
Okay. So I'm going to ask her if whoever puts that together can include a link to, I guess, the upcoming week Board of Ed meetings. If it comes out once a week, right, then what we want is to include the following week's meetings.
And you know what? The problem is also going to be, how do we get her specific? Either we have one of us giving her specific, hey, Sam, by the way, these are the meetings that are coming up. These are the committee meetings. These are the board meetings that are happening this week. So we either are going to have to do a manual feed to her every week, or she can link it. She can have a link to the district calendar every week on there saying, we have some meetings coming up this week with the Board of Education, Board of Finance. Click here to find out when.
Well, I'm sure she has an administrative assistant of some kind who all they'd have to do is go to our website, go to the calendar, and look at what's on the calendar for next week.
Okay. Yeah. I mean,
I agree with you. A link to the calendar. I will suggest that to Sam that they put in her weekly town hall happenings, maybe just a real quick, next week the Board of Ed is going to have a regular meeting on Tuesday, curriculum committee meeting on Thursday, and a link to our calendar, right? So that way she doesn't have to get into the exact weeds of when the meetings are, but more next week there's a regular meeting and a curriculum meeting. Here's a link to the Board of Ed calendar. So maybe that's what I'll suggest to her.
Sure. I think that she's the one who can reach out to the residents. Now, there are a lot of people who are going to feel, we've seen it, like I've seen some really snide comments and remarks on social media about her email that comes out every week. So I'm sure some people are just going to delete it. But you know what? We're doing what we can to get the word out.
But
and
the
like
town hall happenings, I don't get it because I've chosen not to subscribe to it. Is that right? It's not like those COVID alerts that were being jammed down our throats through text and that we couldn't unsubscribe from. We couldn't.
I don't know.
This is a subscription model, right?
It may be a subscription model. I'm not sure.
I don't get texts.
You don't get the text from her every week?
No.
Let me take a look.
Yeah.
I'm assuming I'm just checking the Town of Weston site, but it sounds like it's subscription. You probably she's not using the emergency notification system for this, which I understand because I know that's where things get in the weeds. If you use an emergency notification system to send out meeting informations, and I can say this from experience in my town, you start really upsetting the public because then it waters down.
Right.
The emergency.
With the COVID-19 stuff, it was coming through our emergency communication system.
Right.
And it became noise. I want to know that there's a serious problem, not how many people tested positive for COVID.
Right. And so what had happened was people basically, the assumption has to be made when you're using an emergency communication system. it's to say there's an emergency, even if something like there was an accident on such and such a road, power's out, we are working with the power company to get everything restored. Something like that. But I'm assuming if you look on the Town of Weston website, there's like a how do I, and it's alerts and notifications sign up. So there's two, it looks like they have two systems: emergency alert notification and community alert notification system. So it sounds like Sharon had signed up for the community alert notification system, which
I don't recall signing up for it, but here I am.
yeah, there's notification preferences. There's a whole sign up right here.
Sure.
So, yeah.
So yeah, I got one last Friday. Hello, Weston. First Selectman Sam Nestor here with some town news and updates.
Yep.
But I also got an email as well.
Okay. So I don't get those. So I think we can presume, although I may be on Sam's blacklist, we can make a better assumption that it's a subscription-based model, right?
Yeah.
I did not choose to subscribe to it. This is perfect because then it addresses anyone who doesn't want to get these messages. Simply unsubscribe or don't subscribe.
Right.
We don't subscribe to something and complain about what you're getting.
Right.
I mean, people will.
What?
Right. So okay. So what I'll do is, just to close the loop on this piece of conversation, I will email Sam. I'll ask Sam to include it in her town happenings or her weekly newsletter, and just include what is on our schedule for next week and potentially a link to our calendar.
What about Ted Kraft as well on Weston Today?
No thanks.
No? You don't think we should have him put links on there too?
I don't know that people. I think that people don't really rely on Weston Today. I know I don't.
No, but I don't rely upon Facebook either. So,
I see what you're saying.
Just saying to try to get it out in as many places as possible.
I was thinking more from a push perspective.
Okay.
Like Weston Today doesn't do like push.
No.
Okay. That's what I meant by Weston Today. No, I think I was looking for a method in which we can close the one piece of information, one thing that we don't in theory do today, which is proactively push a notification out. And we had talked about using MailChimp or some kind of newsletter program. I think we determined that was not possible. We talked about using the alert system the school district uses. We talked about why that wasn't possible. So it sounds like for something that we can push to residents, the closest thing we have is
Sam.
Yeah. Right.
Yeah. I'm also, my thing is, yes, push is one thing, but my thought process is just getting it out to non-school families, taxpayers, basically.
Yeah.
And so just trying to broaden and whether you like Weston Today or dislike Weston Today, a fair number of people in town actually read it. So if we can have the information, it's not saying anything aside from these are what our meetings are.
Yeah. I'm happy to send Ted an email. Or if you have, I don't have a.
He's my neighbor too. I'll reach out to him.
Okay.
I've worked with him with the Women's League and stuff like that in the past. So I'll reach out to him and ask him if he can find what's happening. I'll take a look at his Weston Today and see if there's an area where it would naturally fall, and ask if he could just put us in there, or ask him, if he can include us somehow, some way.
Okay, you're in the right spot of Weston, it would seem.
It's right.
I have
all the little houses here.
My neighbor's a wrestler. I got nobody for a neighbor.
Oh, I know where you live now.
Okay, so you'll reach out to Ted.
Yep.
I will email Sam.
Yep.
I feel like we're putting together a children's book. You talk to Ted, I'll talk to Sam. Okay, I think that's
cool.
it for the moment.
Okay.
So.
Ooh, today is 2/3/23. I just wrote it down. Sorry. Sorry. It's small things that keep me happy nowadays.
All right. Well, now that Sharon is happy and Dan is still smiling,
Always.
June's laughing at us with us. Not mute. All right. So in that case, then can I get a motion to adjourn?
I so move.
All right.
Are you seconding it?
I will second it. And we'll see everybody at the next meeting.
Sounds good.
All right.
Thanks,
Have a great
guys.
weekend.
You
Bye.
too. Bye-bye.
Bye.